Hi, my name is Jonathan Hop. This is a 10-minute Go series, and basically I'm going to deliver you a lesson on the game of Go in less than 10 minutes, beginning now. All right, today's topic is beginning a game. All right, we've been talking about liberties, we've been talking about capturing stones, we've been talking about counting your territory, which is all well and good, but you actually want to start playing a game. So where should we start? I mean, Go is very, very open. You can play on any open intersection you feel like. I mean, the game is pure strategy. There's no spinning wheel. You're not drawing cards. You're not rolling a dice. Basically, it's you and the stones. All right, so you can play wherever you want as long as you follow a couple basic rules. The first of which is whenever you place a stone on the board, you cannot place a stone on the board in an area where the stone will automatically run out of liberties and die. Now, that means that E5, this spot right here, which I'm going to mark with a square, this is an illegal move. White cannot play on there. If white puts a stone on E5, black already has stones positioned all around that basically say, hey, if you put a stone here, you're going to have automatically 0 liberties. And it means you're going to get captured automatically. So this is an illegal move. You cannot play here. We already covered this rule in the previous lesson. All right, so aside from that, the sky's basically the limit. You can play wherever you want to and go. I mean, it's just pretty open, which makes it so much fun. But obviously, some moves are better than others. All right, so normally we want to start off in the corner, move to the side, and go to the center. And there's a reason for that. Okay, let's look at this. All right, let me remove these numbers here. Now, black has made 6 points with both of these walls, and white cannot invade. White cannot play underneath the wall and expect to make a group that has 2 eyes. It just is not possible. It's not possible. Just you could try it yourself if you'd like, but it's not possible. So black has made 6 points. Now, we can think of Go like an investment. When you put a stone down on the board, you want the stone to be useful, all right, to make territory. And some stones are more useful than others. I mean, you can make territory many different ways, but some stones can be more efficient at doing it. Now, look at the top left. I'm going to mark them with A and B just to kind of make things easier. All right, group A and B both make 6 points. How many stones did black need to invest to make 6 points? Remember, you only get 1 stone per move, so that stone has to do a lot of work, has to do something, or else you waste a move. All right, think about that for a second. Count the number of stones and pause the video. All right, so let's count. 1, 2, 3. Let's put 3 here. 4, 5, 6. All right, 1 point per stone. To make 6 points, I use 6 stones. That's pretty decent. On the side, I have to use more stones, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? 9. Okay, 9 stones. Now, you both made 6 points. That's all well and good. I congratulate you on making 6 points. But on the side, I had to use 9 stones to make the same amount of points. So it's a little bit less efficient. The center is even worse for efficiency. Here you have to use 12. Count 12 points, 12 stones to get 6 points. Which means that the center is really not an area where you're going to make a lot of territory. Now in Go, there's always a caveat, all right? Every game is different. Some people like to really play the center style, where they get these huge swaths of territory, which is perfectly fine. That's the way you want to play. But just keep in mind, you can think of it this way. If you look at the sides, the corner already has 2 walls built for you. All right, the edges are basically no man's land in terms of liberties, but they're basically pre-built walls. This is a wall, this is a wall. You need 4 walls to make territory. Well, you've got 2 walls already built for you. You don't have to spend stones in the corner to build these walls to be able to surround all of these points. On the side, you get 1 wall built for you. And the center, well, you have to build all the walls by yourself. So that basically what that means is that the center is going to be the place where you have to spend the most stones, and you may not get any return. The center is important, though, later on in the game when you start fighting and cutting and running away. The center is great to control, and the center may be a really big area for you to make territory, but typically speaking, the center is not that great or efficient. All right, I think we've got that idea. So where should we start then? Like, where is a good place to start in a game of Go? Well, the corner. But we don't want to start too close to the edge, because remember, if we start at the edge, our stone automatically loses liberties. Like, for example, this stone here only has 3 liberties. So I want to start in a place where I can maximize my number of liberties, all right? So I'm not going to start off right at the edge. And starting on the second line, by second line I mean 1, 2, this is the second line. The second line is also kind of like scary because I could be pushed towards the edge pretty easily and then start running out of liberties. So third line is a good place to start thinking about well, making territory. This stone has 4 liberties, and plus there's a lot of space underneath of it, so that white will have a difficult time pushing black towards the edge. Remember, I don't want to play on the edge unless I absolutely have to. Like, for example, I have to make a group live, or I have to connect or run away. But otherwise, I really don't want to play on the edge because it's dangerous, and I don't make that many points per stone, right? So playing away from the edge is much better. So a third line move like this is perfect. I even can play something else like this, or play more towards the center. Now, if I play really out in the center, then that means I don't really have much influence on the corner, so I have to kind of balance it, right? The balance between, do I want more corner, or do I want to go out further and maybe start attacking my opponent? It's up to you, and I really suggest that as a beginner, play lots of games and just try it out. Just try it. Don't even worry so much about, the deep implications of all your moves, right? So some people do that. They like to think very far ahead in games. Don't worry about it. Just give it a try and see how it works out for you. Now, next thing we're going to go over is, well, we play in the corners. That's all well and good. Let's say we play like this. All right, so we've got our corners. All right, then we move on to the side. So we start building the sides. This is very simple. I mean, obviously, most games are going to be way more complicated than this, but I'm just making it very simple. So we're developing, all right? So what we're doing is we're creating an outline of territory. Black's outline is here. White's outline is here. All right? So you can see that you're slowly, with each stone, building walls, and you have to kind of think ahead. I mean, that's the fun part of Go. You have to predict, where are those big spots? What is my area going to look like after I put all my stones down on the board? All right, so you have to think like 3 moves, 4 moves, 5 moves ahead. Actually, when you play really high level Go, like you play Dawn level Go, some people think 20, 25 moves ahead. All right, because they have to predict what's going to happen, because if you go in without a plan, well, things can go awry pretty quickly. After you've sort of gotten the sides, then you can start firming up the corners. And I'm just playing very simple moves. And now you can start kind of see that this area has become black's. It's going to be very difficult, if not impossible. Like I'm going to go ahead and say it's impossible for white to play any move on this area in here. If black plays properly, black should be able to prevent white from making 2 eyes. Therefore, this is black's territory, this is white's territory. And then we can start counting. And you're pretty good at counting by now because you've watched the video, right? So, one important thing we have to remember, though, is that when we develop the board, this is what was called developing the board, which is kind of making an outline that eventually will become your territory. When developing the board, we have to think about how fast our stones are moving. So, for example, what do I mean by that? What if the game went like this? Right? So both players have played 3 stones on the board. And remember, we want efficiency. We're comparing the points we get with our stones and basically how many stones we've played. So if we look at the territory underneath the stones, let's say this is black's territory. Black is about 6 point with 3 stones. If we go back a little bit, let me take away all of these little numbers. White is getting way more, right? And why is that? Because white's spread out, okay? White has jumped ahead of black. What we can say is that black is walking and white is running. All right, if we think of the direction that the stones are actually moving, all right, if you think of your stones as a group, they are moving and developing towards a certain direction. Black played really slow. He played his stones directly next to one another, whereas white gave himself a little bit of space. So white decided to move ahead of black, and now white's stones are making more territory. Now, if you take that idea a little bit too far, and you start moving your stones really, really far away from each other, then this area in between here, for example, white can come in. All right, so if your stones are too far apart from each other, they're not connected. But if you're too close to one another, then your opponent is going to run ahead of you in the race. All right, this is a race for territory. I play a stone to make territory. You play a stone to make territory. So we got to kind of figure out that balance. When you're playing, always think to yourself, look at your outline that you're making with your stones. Try to keep your stones a good balance. Sometimes you play slowly, sometimes you play quickly. And also think, the corners are the most efficient places to make territory. Alright, well, I hope you learned something today. Try to apply this in your games, and I'll see you next episode.